What's going on? It's Trending Story. If it's your first time here and you want to find out new facts that will definitely make you smarter and more well informed, make sure to subscribe and active the notifications bell so you don't miss anything.
An amazing story about how fate brought the gamekeeper and the bear together. Here's what came of it. Rustlin and his friends go hunting in the woods every weekend. They live in town, and early Monday they return to town for work. Rustlin works as a hunter, and he is known to everyone, but he loves animals a lot and respects them and refuses to be mistreated by people, as he has previously encountered many illegal poachers and expelled them from the forest in defense of the animals that live there. Many poachers tried to expel Rustlin from that village after they caused him many problems and complained about him to the police, but the young man managed to escape their trap, and he continued to fight poaching in the village. The hunters, who were a team of several, not only did not abuse the animals, but sometimes assaulted the villagers and stole their belongings from them. One day, while the young man was wandering through the woods, he heard a gunshot, and then he immediately realized that they were the poachers and immediately set off towards the location of the shot. Although Rustlin is well aware that approaching these people is dangerous because they will not hesitate to shoot him, but he was aware that they shot an animal, and he must intervene to prevent them from doing so. When the young man reached the other side of the forest from which the sound of bullets came out, he noticed 3 men running between the trees and communicating with each other with signs. Then he realized that they were looking for an animal, which made him too start searching for the animal in order to save it. Rustlin kept walking in the woods and trying not to find out about the hunters, and suddenly he found a small bear walking with difficulty because he had been hit by a bullet in his foot. Then he approached him quietly to check on him. Meanwhile, the 3 hunters appeared carrying their weapons and asked the young man to step back and told him that the bear was theirs. But the young man refused and pointed his rifle at them and wanted them not to approach the little animal. The hunters tried to intimidate Rustlin and pointed their weapons at him, but the young man was brave and stood between them and the bear and threatened to shoot them if they approached the animal. When the hunters noticed that Rustlin was determined not to give them the bear, they promised him that they would take revenge on him in the near future and leave the forest. Meanwhile, the young man sighed, wiped the sweat from his forehead, turned to the injured animal, and carried it and took it to his home for treatment. When the young man was on his way home, he noticed that the bear did not move as if he had lost consciousness and was breathing with great difficulty. Fortunately, the young man was good at treating animals, as he had studied for a year at the Veterinary Institute before joining the army, and when he finished military service, he refused to continue studying for financial reasons. When Rustlin returned from the army, he became a farmer and a hunter at the same time, and he benefited from his studies at the Veterinary Institute to become a healer for sick and injured animals in the village. The young man treated the little bear and took good care of him and called him Misha, so that he could walk on his feet and eat food, and when he recovered, he took him to the place where he found him for the first time and left him there and then returned home. Weeks later, Russlin's friends came from town, and together they went to the woods to enjoy their time there. There was a young man named Igor who came with the group and was holding a weapon in his hand and making strange movements in the forest as if he was looking for something. Rustlin did not ask his friends about the person, but he was uncomfortable with being in the group. The young fisherman had a 4-wheel drive hunting car, and he had a good quality weapon, so Rustlin kept watching him throughout the trip because he doubted what he wanted. After the friends wandered through the woods for several hours, they set up their tents and sat down to rest. They were all fine, except for Igor, who began to complain of stomach pains. When Rustlin noticed that the young man was in great pain, he decided to take him to the clinic in the village and asked his other friends to wait for him in the woods because they would return soon. When Rustlin and the young man Igor got to his car and got into it, suddenly Igor took out his rifle and pointed it at Rustlin, and then asked him to get out of the car immediately. Rustlin did not understand what the young man wanted from him and asked him, but he refused to speak and asked him to put his hands on his head and walk in front of him, and threatened that he would shoot him if he dared to move. Igor was walking after Rustlin and hit him with his foot from time to time, and told him that he had not forgotten what he had done with his friends in the forest with the little bear. Then Rustlin realized that this young man was one of those hunters who had attacked the little bear and wanted to kidnap him, but he prevented them from doing so. He immediately remembered that someone threatened him with revenge soon, and most likely that person could be Igor. The young man, Igor, was looking for a suitable place to stop, shoot him, hide his body, then return to the group, which was discovered by Ruslan, and he tried to escape, but he was unable to do so. When the two of them reached a steep place, Igor hit Ruslan with his foot and asked him to return towards him and point the gun towards his chest while they were firing. But at that moment, a bear attacked him from behind, hit him and dropped him to the ground, then jumped towards him, but Igor shot Ruslan and hit him in the foot. Then the bear attacked him again and hit the rifle to escape from the young man's hands and kept attacking him. Meanwhile, Ruslan headed crawling towards the rifle and carrying it, but the traitorous hunter managed to escape from the bear, which was not strong enough to prey, and he managed to escape. When Ruslan looked at the bear, he discovered that it was Mishka, the same bear who had saved it from the hands of hunters and healed its wound and took care of it for several days at its home. The bear approached the man and noticed that the blood was bleeding from his foot because of the bullet that hit him. Then he bowed in front of him and grabbed Ruslan on his back, and the bear dragged him into the village where the man lives. The villagers were shocked when they saw a bear dragging Ruslan and waited for it to lay on the ground and rushed to take it to the clinic. There, doctors intervened and stopped the severe bleeding at the last moment, as the man would have died had it not been for the bear to have dragged him at full speed from the forest to the village. The young man remained in the hospital, and his friends came to visit him, and when he told them that the young man had done to him, they told him that they did not know him, that they met him by chance on the way and offered to come with them to the forest to hunt with them. After the friends informed the police, who opened an investigation that the young man had arrested him, it turned out that he was sent by a group of hunters to take revenge on Ruslan, where they gave him an amount of money and asked him to get rid of him, but the bear prevented him from doing so. The police managed to arrest the rest of the illegal poachers and immediately put them in prison, while Ruslan returned to his house, where he found the bear waiting for him, and since that time, they've lived together.
Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks. We'll be right back to you as fast as we can.